The length of a rectangle is 5 feet more than its width. If the area is 66 square feet, find both dimensions. So here we go. The length of the rectangle is 5 feet more than its width. If the area is 66 square feet, that is, find both dimensions. All right, well, let's see how this one's going to work out. First of all, it's always nice to have a little figure. So we've got a rectangle ready to go. Now you say, how do you know it's a rectangle, Ernie? Well, for one thing, got a lot of right angles. Okay, got 4 of them, in fact. And by doing that, we force these sides here to be congruent. Those opposite sides are going to be the same length. That's what congruent means. And then these little guys up here are also going to be congruent. Now you say, well, why'd you need to know that? Well, it's just fact it's a rectangle. It works that way. And if I were looking for perimeter, I would need to remember that these two have the same length and these two have the same width, okay? But they are going to measure out the same amount, in this case, in feet, all right? So what we're going to look at here, is a word problem setting. Oh, I know some of you go, ooh, we don't like all those words. It isn't so bad. It's not so bad. But first of all, we got to figure out where we're going to start. Where we're going to start here. And I want to call something that I don't know x. But it turns out I don't know 2 things here. I don't know the width. I don't know the length. But I do know the area. So it's going to be important. It's going to be important to us, all right? So let's see how this is going to work out and how it's going to pan out. First of all, I do not know what that width is. I'll call it x, all right? I can call it w. I can call it w also. But I don't know the length either. But I do know a clue about the length. According to this is the length of a rectangle is 5 feet more than its width. So on this picture, I'm going to take that x and I'm going to add 5 to that, all right? Now you say, does that make 5x? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because you cannot add those terms. They are not like terms, all right? X plus 5 is just as you see it, x plus 5. Now, let's go back a little bit here. Let's go back just a second. So we got going here pretty fast. X is our width. X plus 5 is our length. Now that's important. We got to define those variables. We want to get those things first. So we got width and we got our length. Right there we go. Now, what are we going to do with them? To get area, the formula is take the length times the width, or you can take the width times the length, okay? Commutative property working for us there as we change our order as we wish. But let's go for it. How about it? We're going to say x times x plus 5. We're going to multiply our 2 dimensions together. And that's going to give us this great 66. Now, first of all, let's think about 66. Numbers that multiply to give you 66. This will help, all right, here in just a second. Thinking of some possible options. How about 6 times 11? 2 times 33? Wow, how about 1 and 66? Those are integer values. Now, there are probably some fraction values out there too. You're going like, oh, do we have to go there? Not in this case. Not in this case. Not today, all right? So let's see how we're going to tackle this. The storyline is, and let's see if I lose my bottom third there, folks. It would help. Thank you. Let's distribute. Distributive property time right here. Let's go with x times x, which is not 2x. Sometimes my students like to tell me that. It's going to give us x squared, and then they go, oh no, I would much rather have 2x. No, that's okay. We're going to factor in a minute probably, all right? We're going to try to anyway. We're going to distribute that 5 and that x. We're going to distribute the x through the 5, and that's going to give us 5x. And over here, 66 does not get affected because the parentheses stops there, and the buck stops there, and so does your distributive property moment, all right? Now, where we're going to go? Where we're going to go? Can't factor unless we're set equal to 0. And that's what we've got to do at this point. So we're going to move this 66 back here to the left side of the equals, all right? So we're going to have x squared plus your 5x. We're going to subtract because it was positive here. We got to subtract to make a 0 happen. And folks, if you do it to the right, you've got to do it to the left. This is the subtraction property of equality ready to go for us. So we're going to put a minus 66 right there. And you say, are we done? Not yet, not yet. But let's follow it right up over here, all right? We're going to take this x squared plus 5x minus 66, and we're going to take it to 2 parentheses. We're going to have those 2 parentheses multiplying to give us 0. And you say, well, Ernie, what is that going to do for us? Well, we're going to have an x and we're going to have an x. How did I get that? Because I have to have x times x to get me x squared. That's the first angle. I also am needing a negative 66 when I multiply the last two numbers here. And by the way, they need to be numbers since we're going to have a 66. There's no x involved there. So I need a plus and I need a minus. Now the question is that important? Which one comes first? No. But what is important is what number are we going to put in there with the minus and what number are we going to put with the plus? That does make a difference. Now at this point, look what I want to get. I want to get a positive 5x. You say, well, what do you mean you want to get a positive 5x? I'm going to multiply these two numbers to get 66, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to subtract them in order to get 5x. I said, okay, is that true? Very true, very true. So let's see where we're going to go with this. I'm going to put an 11 right here. I'm going to put a 6 right there. You say, well, that was a nice choice. Well, first of all, I know that 11 times 6 gets me 66. All right, that's what I wanted. Actually, back here, I want a negative 66. Let's pull back here a little bit. But it's all about the factors of 66, all right? I'm also looking for a way that I can find two factors, and it looks like I've got 11 and 6 going here, and ask myself, can I subtract and get 5? Can I subtract and get 5? Well, right there, those two perfectly work that way, and the signs are right and everything. So there's your factored form. Check inner, check your outer. You've got 11x minus 6x gets you back to that 5x right there, okay? That's a big deal right there. That's our check. We check. You say, are we done? Everybody's always asking, are we there yet? No. Let's go ahead one more step here. We want to say x plus 11 equals to 0. We're going to set that equal. We're going to say x minus 6 could equal 0 because the idea here is, by this thing called the zero property for multiplication, we want these parentheses to have a shot at both equaling 0. In other words, if I take 0 times something, I get 0. If I take something times 0, I get 0. So I'm looking for an option for both of these to come out to give me 0. So let's see what happens. I get x could equal negative 11. I also have over here that x could equal 6. Now, you say, well, that's nice. You got two answers. Are they both good? Are they both good answers? Well, let's check this one with the 6 first. First of all, it's positive. It's a positive 6. So I know that I can put it right there, squeeze it right in there. And if I squeeze in right over here, 6 plus 5, that's going to give me 11. So look at our width. Our width is 6 and it's feet. Our length is going to be 5 more. It's going to be 11. My goodness. They multiply to give me 66. And I can tell you this, 11 is 5 more than 6. All right? So that checks with my problem. Now the question is, what about good old negative 11 here? Negative 11 has a problem from the beginning because I can't have a negative length. So that tells me no need to try. It's not a good solution. So we are looking for the numbers right there, 6, and also 11 because we're looking for the dimensions in the end there, all right? So an easy way to check, multiply them back through, and also check the difference. Difference is 5 feet there, all right?
For more math help, visit TNLearn.org.